So in this video, I just want to go over a little bit about working with the course files. And this is for my Physical Sciences 153 course. So there's a few different types of files you may have to work with, and you're always getting these from Blackboard. So each week, there's going to be a PDF file of the lab manual sections for that week. Now, when it comes to viewing PDFs, there's some information in Blackboard about how you can download an Adobe Reader, which is a PDF reader. It used to be that you had to always have this program on your computer, and you could download a PDF. Nowadays, most browsers actually have PDF viewers in the browser. And we'll also talk about printing the PDFs. So let me actually go over here into Blackboard for the course. This is set up in the instructor view, so it'll look a little bit different for you. But in any particular week, when you go in there, there's going to be some things that you'll want to take a look at. So normally under the reading assignments is going to be the lab manual section, which will include your introductory worksheet. When you click on that, again, most browsers will actually open this up in a new tab right here in the browser, in which case you can actually read everything that you're going to need to do right here on the screen. Okay? Now, there's also a few other things you can do. Generally, there'll be some way to download the file, or you can print the file. Now, I'm using just Google Chrome, and it works really well with PDF files, but other browsers I've checked also work just as fine with PDF files. And you should, for most of it, be able to just view it here in the browser without any difficulties. There will be some labs, and I'll try and point it out when those weeks come up, where you might need to print something. So it is one of those requirements in this course that you have access to a printer. Now, I know a lot of students nowadays don't have printers, but there are computer labs on campus where you would be able to print a file. And it may only be a particular page that you have to print. For this course this semester, we're trying something a little bit different. And rather than using these as worksheets where you actually fill in all of the information, and some of them will still look like a worksheet with blank spaces to fill them in, you'll actually be putting your answers in on Blackboard. And for this week, you have two sections. The part one, where these questions in here are in a Blackboard assignment, and you'll actually put in your answers there. And then there's a part two, which is the technical skills. And one of the first things that you have to check off is that you've been able to open the lab manual document for this week. So it's going to check that you know how to do that. So you can use the manual to sort of give you the background information and the instructions for what you want to do. But then in any of these questions are going to be things that you'll actually put your answers in on Blackboard in the assessment for this. For this week, that's going to be down here where there's the part one and the part two. And so you'll go through and look at those. And again, in here in that part one, it's going to open it up. It's going to call this a test in Blackboard, but it's not really a test. It's just where you enter all your solutions. And the first question in here is that I have been able to open the laboratory manual document for this week. But then there's other questions in here where you'll have to follow the instructions in the manual in order to be able to answer the questions on Blackboard. So don't think you can just jump straight into the assignment and answer them straight from here. You will have to refer back to the document. If for some reason you have a browser that's not working on, again, you should be able to download them and then open them up with a PDF reader. There are free PDF readers. You should never have to pay for any software in this course. If you have any difficulties opening up the PDF files, please let me know. Okay, so beyond that, We also want to talk about spreadsheets. We will occasionally, not every week, but occasionally be using spreadsheet files. Most of the times your browsers don't work with spreadsheet files, so you have to actually download the files and then open it in an application. Most students will be using the Microsoft Excel version for working with spreadsheets. It's a pretty standard software package. If you're not working on Microsoft or you don't have the Microsoft software, there is a free version that works very much like Excel called LibreOffice. And you can download it for free, and it works on Windows computers, it works on Mac computers, it works on Linux computers, which is actually what I use. When you downloaded it and opened it up in the application, there will typically be instructions in the manual where it will tell you what to do with that spreadsheet so that you can analyze some data or create a graph or do a calculation. And then again, in the manual, it will tell you whether or not you need to save and submit the file or whether you're just copying an answer from the file over. Again, this week we do have a spreadsheet check activity, and you've got the trial spreadsheet here as a file you can download. Now, when I click on this, it does not open up in my browser, but it will tell me that it's downloaded. And since I've actually downloaded it a couple of times, it's the second version, the third version, etc. Most of the time when it does this, you can open it straight from here, or on your computer you might know to go into your downloaded documents file, find it there, and then open it. I've got a couple different options for how I can open it. I can use Excel, which is what's automatically opening here, or I can use the LibreOffice. I have noticed that when you download it from the internet and you work with Excel, it's going to be saying, be careful, it can contain a virus. Well, my files don't contain viruses. You can trust me if it's a file coming from me in this course. So you can enable editing. And then there's some information here about what to do, but it also tells you in your lab manual exactly what you need to do. And some of those things will then be answers that you're going to put into this part 2. So you won't finish part 2 before moving on to the spreadsheet, but in part 2 it will direct you to the spreadsheet. So if you do have difficulties opening the PDF or opening the spreadsheet, I definitely want you guys to get help. And typically what I'm going to ask you guys to do is when new content opens up, go ahead and check to make sure that if there's any files, the PDF of the manual or the spreadsheet file, that you check those right away and let me know if there's an issue. Occasionally something doesn't quite get posted to release correctly, and then when the first student runs into that problem and contacts me, then sometimes I can get the thing fixed for the entire class. Other times, though, it's just an issue one particular student is having trying to understand their particular computer and their software. So contact me right away when you have an issue and then proactively work with me towards finding a solution. Sometimes that might mean bringing your notebook or your laptop in to my office, or working with me over Zoom where we can share a screen so that I can help you figure out how to work with these PDFs and the spreadsheets, so that once you figured that out this first week, you'll be able to do them with less help in future weeks. But if you have issues in future weeks, work with me again to make sure that everything is going okay. So that's the little introduction video here on these introductions of working with the lab documents.